All right, we're working on the old Brownwall again here, and Mike is here.
How you doing?
And he's anxious to get working on it. What are you going to do first, buddy?
Well, the first thing I'd like to do would be to shim the bearing caps for the crankshaft. That way we can get a good engine that spins, and we can check that off the list. So
right.
We've got to make some shims and get it all set right.
Okay. Yeah, we have the original shims that came with it. And
a couple of them, yeah.
Yeah, well, almost all of them. But they're pretty well weathered. And what do you think? The cardboard, just plain cardboard, huh?
Well, that's what I would say. Yeah,
okay.
That's what they were made out of originally. It looks like,
yeah.
You know. So,
okay.
Nothing too complicated there.
All right. Well, let's try and find some cardboard, and then.
What's this?
It's cardboard.
Did you find it? Wow, it's perfect. That's right.
Yeah, we cut that with scissors.
Yeah, that's all it has to be.
All right.
Huh. All right.
All right, that's one thing. Then what else? Once you get that, what are we going to do?
Well, after that, I think we'll pop the cylinder off and get the connecting rod off and fit the piston onto the connecting rod. Take a look at the cylinder, see if it needs cleaned or honed or anything like that. Put the rings on the piston and fit the piston in the bore, and then put the cylinder and everything back on, and then we can shim the connecting rod.
Okay.
So I think we'll get a turning rotating engine tonight, and then we'll work on the timing and the governor.
Okay.
So, oh yeah.
All right. Let's cut out some gaskets.
All right.
All right. All right. Let's see how my head mechanic is doing over here.
All right.
He's got the one side on, right? This side here, is that Mike?
Yes.
All wheeled up, and you lubed everything up, huh? Look at that. The way it's spinning. It's funny, Mike's spinning this thing, and he's starting to hear a noise. He says, "What the hell's that noise?" It's that governor I loosened up, Mike.
Yeah.
Where's that? There it goes. Click, clack. So that's good.
I was worried for a second.
All right. Yeah, I wish I knew about them gaskets. I could have popped them out over and had them ready for you, but
Nah, that's okay. It takes a little custom fitting to get them all set right, because you know it's mostly rough casting, so it's not all that precise. So we're gonna have to trim these a little bit for the one side and trim them on the other side. Using the cardboard is nice because it's forgiving. You can get it set just right, where you have the perfect amount of clearance, the perfect amount of pressure on the crank, so it's not dragging. You know, the cardboard has a little bit of a spring to it.
right.
You know what I mean? It's not like if you were using a steel or metal shim. You know, when you bear down on that shim is only going to compress so far.
Right.
And you have to be real accurate with it to get the correct clearance for the crank. Whereas the cardboard, you know, the cardboard will squish and then expand and squish and expand. So it's very easy to do with this.
Yeah.
And you know, we've seen over and over again where it's what they use from the factory. Some of them even use wood. I think we already said that, but
Yeah.
you know, a little bit more.
You know what's nice about that is if you're at a show and you find out it's compressing too much, you go to the nearest garbage can and you got a cardboard box.
Right, make another one.
Huh.
Easy. These engines are simple, so got to use simple methods.
You know what I want to mention, Mike? Somebody in one of my videos, you know, I showed the whole engine and everything, and I showed a picture of one of these, and it had the shroud.
Oh yeah.
And the crank guard, and everybody says, "Oh, you should build a shroud for it and stuff like that." I got a shroud for it. Here's a shroud that goes with it.
Huh.
I don't even know how it would go on, Mike. I guess this goes towards the fan. Oh no, here the opening.
Yeah, right.
And this is the spark plug hole. So you see, to me, hold that up, buddy. Hold it right there. You see, to me that's obscene. It's so ugly. It's obscene.
Yeah.
And we don't need it. This thing's going to run so slow.
Yeah, it looks like an air conditioner with that on it.
Right, it does. I don't know what it looks like with that. You know, it's just it's horrible looking. And this, somebody made this, but it's an exact duplicate of what was on there. And it also has a crank guard. Here, hold this where that would be.
So that would hook on down here,
and then this
it would tie. Well, it would actually go a little bit
right. It would
forward or back. I think it would hit right here.
It would go forward, and then the oiler would hold it down.
Right.
Yeah.
So it would actually hook on like that.
Right, and you know then it covers everything up. And it doesn't really throw that much oil going. That's slow. So.
No, I mean because this is the connecting rod's greased. The only oil is what might fling off from the piston, but that's not much.
Right. Yeah, that's nothing.
So.
Yeah. So there's no need for all that stuff. So we're gonna leave it naked.
Bare.
There. Okay. All right. Well, back to you. You got all your shrimps ready to go?
Well, I got the one side here. I'm gonna take one out the bottom here.
It's just me and Mike tonight. Little dirt bike had to go down to Baltimore, Mike.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Hope he's getting paid well for that.
He does.
Yeah, this one definitely is going to take a lot less shims than this one because there's more wear in this bearing. But that's to be expected because this is the power takeoff side.
Right.
So this is where all the this one only take one or two.
It's funny how something as silly as cutting gaskets takes. I think we're working on it for an hour and a half.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just sent out for dinner.
Actually, I think yeah, one on each side might do it just perfectly. You got no rock in there, and then once I get that tight, we'll check to see what kind of clearance we have. Alright.
Alright. Alright. Looks like Mike's just about got them all tightened up yet?
I just want to get a feel for how the crank spins as I snug up on them. Maybe sounds pretty good.
I was gonna say you were gonna say it sounds like it was tight, but then that's fun pretty good just then. But that's what it is. Wheel and Babbitt, huh?
Oil and Babbitt make a good combination of that.
Yeah, look at that.
We'll have to, obviously once we get it running, we'll see if we have any heat buildup. But they're actually nice.
Nice and tight. You know the way I always say it's tight as a bullfrog's ass?
Mm-hmm.
One of my English subscribers wanted me to say, tight as a gnat's chuff.
Oh yeah. That's unique.
That is. So that's from my English over in England there, over the pond there. That's tight as a gnat's chuff, Mike.
Nice. That's a good thing, right?
I guess, I don't know. Oh well. Alright, looks like we've run into another little problem here. Something I didn't discover until we wanted to put the wrist pin in, right?
Right, this is the wrist pin bushing. So, the issue we ran into is the bushing here has a slit in it, and whoa, easy.
Oh boy!
So does the connecting rod. So the idea is that the bushing is held in place here by a pin, which you can see the head of right there.
Mm-hmm.
So that pin inserts in this little hole right there in the bushing, and then the wrist pin itself is a loose fit here when this is all loosely assembled. Then the idea is that you use this bolt here and you pinch the connecting rod together, which pinches the bushing together, which gives you your right clearance on the wrist pin. What we've really run into is that the bushing itself, the outer diameter, is worn down so that by the time you pinch this rod to where these two surfaces are contacting, the bushing is still loose in the rod itself. It's just worn that much. So it's not going to do its job correctly. We were looking at through a couple of different bushings you had here, but we couldn't find anything that was going to be quite right. Actually, you can see how worn it is. It's actually stuck now because the edges of the bushing are fine, but the center where the bearing surface is not. It's worn down. So that's all wedged together now. There it goes.
There we go.
See that? Now it's all loose again.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's not a problem. We were gonna make one, but I don't. Unfortunately, we don't really have a piece of brass that's gonna work for that. Your oil light bushing that you have there would probably work, but it's just a little bit too short. Is that the right one? Yeah. No. Actually, it's a little bit too large in diameter, but it's a little bit too short to fit in there. It'd be really close. Yeah.
Oh,
Well, that's the thing. It's you can spread that slightly, so then that's a good fit on the wrist pin.
Yeah.
So
instead of playing around and messing around, we're just gonna we'll go on to something else, right, Mike? The valves or the cylinder or the gears or
Yeah, we got more work to
We
do.
got other stuff to do, and I'll just pick up one of these over the next week or so. All right, well,
Don't get discouraged.
no, we'll get it going. Mike's trying to figure out where the timing marks are. It has no timing marks, though.
Yeah, nothing obvious. I'm just watching I'm watching this, which is the exhaust valve push rod, and I'm watching the crank. So this should be, let's see, this would be ignition, and then exhaust. See when the push rod starts moving. So right now, the exhaust valve is going to start to open it. Well, probably 100 degrees past ignition, or past top dead center on compression. So right there, it should open up down here, or begin to open up a bit farther down in this area. So I have to retard the exhaust timing a little bit. So that's pretty much just take the pin out of the gear.
How many teeth do you think you missed to buy?
Well, maybe only 3, maybe 2, 3. Not very many. It's kind of hard to get this pin out. There we go. Thank you. So there we go. So let's try that. So there's compression. Power. Oh, I went the wrong direction. Ah,
Hey,
that's funny.
I don't feel bad.
Stand by. Let's
I thought I made a mistake once, but I was wrong.
Oh yeah. Ah. Let's try that. So that would be top dead center compression, power stroke, power stroke, power stroke, power stroke. Exhaust is just starting to open now. So exhaust is opening. Okay, that's about high cam on the exhaust. Exhaust is closing. Bang. And that's when compression should start. Right around, this is like the overlap point here. So this is where the exhaust valve should be closing, and then the atmospheric intake should be opening. So it has a very long exhaust duration. Looking at it, looking at the cam. See that? That's a really long duration.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. Maybe heck, it's easy enough to change. So I think we're gonna leave it right there and run it and see how it operates. Because of course there's gonna be some clearance, like let me go around again. So there's top dead center compression. This is the power stroke here. There's gonna be some clearance between this point and the exhaust valve itself. So it's really, when this starts moving, it's not when the exhaust valve starts to open. So even though it's starting to move here, it's gonna have a gap to take up. So the exhaust valve really isn't gonna open to probably here, and it's gonna close earlier as well than when this starts to go back. So it may be a little bit deceiving now, but I'm gonna mark those gears. That's where we're gonna put it, and we're gonna see how it runs.
Right.
If it needs to be adjusted, we can adjust
So
it.
you gotta have a starting point.
That's right. I think that's the starting point.
Check out Mike the pinstriper.
Yeah, look at that. That's a nice.
Look at him.
It's nice work there. Yeah.
Look at that. He's not pinstriping. He's marking the timing marks there, so he knows where they're at.
Yep. So one tooth between there, and that tooth is right here. Marked on the side and on the tip.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. Mike's been playing with this for a little bit now. You got it timed, right?
Right, we have the exhaust valve timed and the ignition roughly timed. So the cam gear is installed now. One thing that next is the latch out arm here. So this is the component that strikes the governor weight here. Let me move this around. So this is the governor weight. When the engine's at speed, there's a spring that is between here that'll compress the spring, and this it's like a cam almost. This needs to contact this part of the lever, and that forces the latch out finger here down onto this step that's cut into this block. Can you see that there?
I got it.
So it really is going to ride something like, let me move this over here.
Right.
Something like this. So this is the latched out position right here. So the exhaust valve is held up. Now when the engine slows and the governor weight is pushed in toward the center of the crank, this will lift up and allow the exhaust valve to close. So that's pretty much all the travel it has right there.
Right.
But I think this has been fabricated at some point.
Right.
Can you tell that?
I did. I mentioned that before. Whoever did it did a nice job. But I don't think, like, you're looking at it, and it must not have ever been tested.
Right. So, because as we rotate the engine in the direction that it runs, so this is going to be in this position. The first thing it does is strike the bolt that the weight itself pivots on. You see that?
Right, and it's hitting.
Yeah.
But it's only hitting maybe by what? Less than a quarter of an inch, maybe an eighth of an inch
less
or
than
so.
a quarter. So I think we're going to compromise and maybe make a short head bolt, and then also maybe take an eighth or 3/16 off of this width of this here, something that will still allow it to ride on the edge of this cam, but clear the head of that bolt. So we don't know what would have been here originally. I'm guessing it was a hexagonal bolt because the collar that this pivots on is threaded. So
Right.
yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. You know what's interesting, Mike? They did have like this bolt here.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see this bolt. Hold that, Mike. I can turn my light on. Yeah, this bolt here is really thin, so it has clearance against the
Stand by.
base. Yeah. See that? Now, if they didn't shave the top of that head off,
Yeah.
it would never have gotten past the cylinder base.
It's interesting. I mean, this might have been like a round head machine screw even, but it's hard to say.
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't have the parts book for it.
Right. But anyway, it's fixable, and that's where we're at. So we got the ignition time, the exhaust timed, and we know what problems we have with the latch out. So we're one step ahead of where we should be. But it's getting late, and Mike's got to get up early in the morning, so we're going to pack it in for now. And I got to get a bushing for that wrist pin. And anything else to add, buddy?
I don't think so. We made good progress.
We are, yeah. Everybody thought, once I painted it and everything, Mike would slap this together in a night. There's just so much that goes into getting an engine running right. And we still haven't addressed the valves. We still have to make the valves work. But that's where we're at. So we'll make good progress, and it's looking good. So next week we'll do a little bit more. All right, what do you say, buddy? Enough of this?
Enough of this.
All right. See you guys in the next one.